Having a solid understanding of your finances is essential to achieving wealth. By answering these questions about your finances, you can assess how well you're doing and what steps you need to take to become wealthy. While some of these questions may seem easy to answer, the majority of people will be at a loss. Ignoring them can lead to bad financial decisions that may negatively affect your career. Answering these questions correctly will ensure you are on your way to financial success. If not, it is time to do some research and make adjustments to your strategy. Hi, my name is Mohit, and I help teach people about money, personal finance, and investing. If you're interested in improving your financial future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this video is helpful. How much money do you need to retire? If you're like most people, the thought of how much money you'll need for a comfortable retirement scares you to death. However, knowing this number is crucial if you want to be successful. It's surprisingly easy to figure out how much money you need to retire, but most people don't learn how to do this because they're afraid. They are worried that the amount needed will be so high that they will never be able to get there. Assuming a sustainable withdrawal rate of 4%, you can determine exactly how much you need by multiplying your expected retirement income by 25. If you expect to make $50,000 per year in retirement, you only need $1,250,000 to safely withdraw that amount each year. If you've done your research, you know you don't have to save yourself $1,250,000. If you invest smartly, most of that money will come from the returns on your investments. The money you put in will only be a small fraction of that. Those who can answer this question are well on their way to a successful and comfortable retirement. What are your expected investment returns? If you want to know the answers to other questions, you must first understand what kinds of investment returns you can expect. If you can answer this question confidently, you've done your homework. The S&P 500 returns around 10% per year on average, with some years returning much more and others being negative. However, it is commonly regarded as a standard. The S&P 500 is a well-balanced option with market returns that are about average. Your returns will suffer if you don't like taking risks and can't handle a moderate amount of volatility. On the other hand, if you are willing to take on more risk, your returns could be greater than 10%. Whatever the case, you should have a general idea of what to expect. This will help you figure out other numbers, such as how much money you need to save, how much money you need to invest each month. Everyone wants to be rich, but it's essential to know how much to invest to get the results you want. You need a plan and a clear financial goal to become financially stable. Even if you don't make enough money yet, or your bills are too high to invest what you planned, that doesn't mean all hope is lost. You know how much you want to invest, you just need to figure out how to get there. A compound interest calculator can help you figure out how much money you need to save. All you have to do to get an accurate answer is enter the amount of money you've already saved, the expected return on your investments, and the time frame. How much cash should you have on hand? Most people have no idea how much money they should have in their savings accounts. You should know precisely how much money you need to set aside and why. Generally, it's recommended to have 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses set aside in a savings account, with about 2 months' worth of expenses in a checking account. There is no exact way to figure out how much money a person should have. People who work on commission, depend on tips, or are self-employed should be especially careful and save more money in case of an emergency. Conversely, having too much money in a checking account without interest can be troubling. This means your money won't grow and will become less valuable month after month, due to inflation. How much money should you be saving for future purchases? It can be hard to figure out how much money you need to save for big purchases in the future, and this is often overlooked. Reaching a debt-free position is an incredible achievement that gives you more financial freedom to use your money for other purposes. Nevertheless, it's also essential to plan ahead and consider the upcoming costs you may face. Even though you may have paid for your car in full and don't have to worry about debt payments, you may still incur costs associated with its upkeep and maintenance. Replacing it also entails a certain degree of expense every month. Assuming you don't want to borrow money for a newer vehicle in the future, how much money should you put aside now for that purchase? If you need $25,000 to pay cash for a car in 4 years, you should save more than $500 per month just for that expense. What about home repairs and upgrades? It's worth planning for a roof or kitchen replacement years ahead of time to avoid the need for debt to fund the purchase. Think of it as making payments to yourself. What accounts should you be using to invest? If you're like most people, you're lucky if you know what kind of retirement or investment account you're putting money into, let alone what the pros and cons of these accounts are. Choosing the correct accounts for your investments demonstrates that you have done your homework and understand how to save most money. In addition to taking advantage of the various benefits of different account types, using accounts that don't fit your needs will result in much less money saved over time and a large tax bill in retirement that takes up a large portion of your income. You should understand the benefits and drawbacks of various accounts, such as IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, etc. Knowing which account is best for you shows that you've done the research and are serious about making the most of the money you save. How can you minimize your expenses? People who understand money management are constantly looking for ways to cut costs. You're probably good with money if you can think of a few ways to reduce your monthly expenses. If necessary, you should always be able to devise a few strategies to reduce your monthly expenses. You can cut costs without sacrificing your way of life by negotiating better insurance rates, refinancing your home to get a lower interest rate, or canceling subscriptions you rarely use. Other reductions that may decrease your quality of life include moving into a less expensive home or apartment, taking on a roommate, selling your car, or eating all of your meals at home. You are not required to use all of these money-saving strategies. The key is to constantly look for ways to cut costs and to be able to do so when necessary. How is your monthly spending categorized? Your income is your most powerful wealth-building tool, but if you're not careful, large expenses can sneak up on you and consume much of it. You should be aware of your monthly spending and where your money goes. Housing is the most important one to focus on because it is almost everyone's biggest monthly expense, whether they pay a mortgage or rent. You must know how much of your budget will be affected by this expenditure. If you let this one expense get out of hand and spiral out of control, it is almost certain that you won't have any money left over in your budget to make investments or pay off debt. Transportation is one of the biggest budget categories, followed by smaller ones like food, health care, and insurance. Find out how much of your income is wasted on subscriptions, eating and drinking out, and online impulse purchases that add up quickly but don't add much value. You're far ahead of most people if you know exactly where your money is going. People who, at the end of each month, scratch their heads and wonder why they have nothing left. If you know the answers to all of these questions, congratulations. There's a good chance you're doing very well financially. Although you might not be exactly where you want to be, you are headed in the right direction. Please share this video with all your friends so they can also try to answer these questions, and if you have not already done so, please subscribe and leave us a like. We'll see you in an upcoming episode.